Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Dino Charge Black Ranger, aka Chase, aka the guy currently doing the really weird robot pose, because right off the bat, my main problem with this guy is, at least for my figure, I have a really hard time getting him to stand. I messed with him for almost 10 minutes before I finally could turn the camera back on, and for whatever reason, between the way his legs sit and the way his chest is, I have to have him doing this weird leaning back robot pose to get him to just stand. So I've definitely had a problem with that. It could just be mine, but I definitely wanted to draw attention to that immediately, since I obviously noticed that immediately. So let's talk about the accessories real quick first before I forget. As you can see, he has the Dino Charge morpher in his hand, which is only very basically painted with just the two colors, but it was the same case for Dino Charge Red. He also has the saber, which is also basically painted as well. And then you have just two sets of hands, ones that are on him right now, which is holding the weapon hand, and then the karate chop sort of holding the top of the Dino Charger hand. Then you have another holding the weapon hand, and then one regular closed fist. I kind of wish that you just had a second closed fist for this hand, so that I didn't have to awkwardly either have him holding nothing or doing a slap hand when I don't want him slapping anybody. And then of course, you have his civilian head, which I think is one of the better civilian heads for Chase. There's a little bit of a paint mistake on his eyebrow for mine, but it's not a huge deal. But for the most part, I think it's one of the strongest ones, and I really like this one. Then you have one of my more favorite effect parts, which is a blaster one, and you can see that there's two little holes here, which you'll be able to fit on top of the blaster right here. So I think that's pretty cool. Whoops. I think that's one of my favorite ones because all of the lightning ones are so samey after a while, and I almost just don't even want them. They just end up in a baggie. But I like this one because it's different. He doesn't include another unnecessary lightning effect, and it fits for exactly what his character is and for his main weapon and stuff like that. So I do enjoy that. So setting aside the fact that I was gonna say the fact that he falls over. There we go. So I was waiting for it to happen. Let's talk about the figure itself. And setting that aside, I think look-wise, he's mostly pretty good. I think for the head sculpt, it's a very accurate head sculpt. It looks really good. Nice coloring, nice sheen to it. The proportions don't seem too small or too fat. I'm mostly happy with it there. No problems there. I don't know why I said there twice. I'm sorry about that. The coloring here stands out nicely. There's a couple little paint mistakes and nicks. That's kind of become common with the Lightning Collection, though. You just kind of have to sift through them. I've seen a couple of these in stores, and I checked them out for the most part, and I didn't see any huge problems on them, like some of them in the past. So that's maybe a good sign, but just kind of be wary of that. But I think the black color looks good. The yellow looks good. The Pachysaur here looks a little bit blended in. Like, it's got the details, but it's so blended in, it just looks like a silhouette with a Pikachu cheek, so that's kind of a thing. And then you have the little black plastic here, which is, I think, different than the others are supposed to be. But for the most part, I think the core colors and details look good. It has that nice sort of cloth feel to it, which is neat. Like, it doesn't feel like cloth, but you know what I mean? Like, it has the folds where it actually looks like it. I think the color on this contrasts nicely. You don't have too many bits where you can sort of see where it separates and kind of break the illusion of it. The silver paint here looks nice as well. The back's painted nicely. The articulation is par for the course, nice Lightning Collection stuff. You have the nice ball joint here. It's kind of clicky and stiff in some of the areas. Double elbow joint here, swiveling at the fists. Nice ball joint on the leg. Double knee joint also can be stiff sometimes. This side's a little stiffer on mine. And then you have the nice hinge joint here on his feet. The chest and waist articulation, the head and neck articulation, all par for the course. And fortunately, no loose joint problems. Like I said, my only real problem is just getting him to stand, which kind of sucks. And also, there's been some complaints about some slight discrepancies between him and previous Dino Charge releases. So here's Red. And as you can see, I think there was another one that I honestly can't remember. But the only ones I noticed is that the tops of his gloves are painted silver for red and not for black, and then they have the different colors on the belt, which does kind of suck. But I'm going to be honest, these are the kind of things that I can live with. I think the Lightning Collection is in a weird spot where it's right between where you expect a little bit more from it than your basic $8 basic figure, and you expect a little bit less than a $50, $80 figure art type, or, you know, higher up type figure. So you kind of have these weird in the middle expectations where it's a collector line, so you expect a little more effort into it, but it's also not like a super premium line. And in recent light of like the White Ranger, the Dino Thunder White Ranger in this line, completely missing part of his visor paint, that's something that I really have a hard time living with. But little details like the tops of the gloves and the belts, they do kind of suck. But that's the type of little discrepancies that I can accept. This kind of happens in the Marvel lines and the Star Wars lines, and for $20 for a pretty solid figure, I'm not saying it's okay, like, that's okay. I'm saying, like, it would be better, it would be nice if they could fix it, but I'd rather live with something like this than this dude's whole visor not being painted. So, sorry about that long-winded little spiel there. I'll get off my soapbox, and now let's go ahead and compare this guy to previous Dino Charge Black and Kyoryu Black releases. Here are the three main releases that I own and can think of. Obviously, right here in the middle is the Lightning Collection we were just talking about. This is Figure Arts Kyoryu Black, and then this is the basic action hero from the original Bandai line. And honestly, they all have their pros and cons. This one obviously is the weakest link. Goodbye. No, but I still have a soft spot for classic, basic PR figures like this, but obviously if you're going for the most accurate, this one is kind of out. And then you leave these two. This one certainly has more details, especially you can see there in the weapon, more details overall. He can stand properly. He's got a lot more accessories, that's not even in this video, so you have a lot going on there. I do think this guy is more accurate proportion-wise. I think that the release of the Lightning Collection has really driven home how overly skinny some of the original figure arts are, which can be a problem, so I think the proportions are better on this guy, but this certainly isn't a terrible figure, and like my main complaint about this dude is he can't stand, so you kind of have your mixed bag here going on. You do not have a legacy release, in case anyone didn't know that, so that's why there's not a comparison of that. But overall, setting aside that he can't stand, I'm mostly happy with this figure. Like, so I am upset that mine can't stand, and that really does bother me about mine personally, but I don't know if others are having that problem. So setting that aside, that problem which may be exclusive to mine or exclusive to some, I think just look-wise is an overall solid figure, and I'm happy with it outside of the not being able to stand part, which is a huge bummer, and that kind of sucks outside of some minor nitpicks. And I don't think I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it'll probably be in the description, but this is a Target exclusive. It's not part of any one wave. But anyways, guys, that's about it for this one. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.